everyone, this is Robin Kinney for another special edition of Motor City Woman Wednesdays. We're out here in the gorgeous sunshine, and I'm joined with Lauren Bealore, one of the co-founders of Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful. Now, Lauren, you're no stranger to Motor City Woman Wednesdays.
No, I am not.
In fact, you were one of my first guests when we were talking about the Sister Sip series. Now, you have another event that further expands the business development entity of Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful.
Yes.
Tell us about that. It's coming up in a couple of days.
Yes, June 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m. at Build Institute. And the event is entitled Boss Beauty Build,
Gotcha.
which is a play on words of women in business who are expressing how they're building on different industries.
Okay.
And so this particular event is a kickoff, and it actually is featuring Ariel Taylor, who is the founder of
Kids Cab, yes.
Yes, and we love Ariel so much because the theme is building on modern transportation.
Okay.
And it'll kind of show how she's the Uber for children.
Mm-hmm.
And how that is a different industry, and how she's building on that, not only in Michigan, but taking it nationwide as well.
That's wonderful. Now, why is Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful doing this event, Boss Beauties Build?
So, like our Sister Sip event, the event gives our attendees and just women in general the opportunity to further understand, one, why we even partner with co-working spaces, two, why partnerships are important and why social entrepreneurship helps to further develop and thrive businesses, especially for women, and three, to understand how to take a creative niche and turn it into a thriving business opportunity, which is what Ariel did, because her business started out as it being an assignment for a class, and she went and turned that into something that now has been featured in Black Enterprise. And we want to give women the opportunity to connect with women like this, and also to get a better understanding of how to utilize resources, because that's really what success is. It's people who take certain tactics and skill sets into further developing themselves in a strategic manner.
Right, exactly. You know, you said something that really stood out for me. You talked about connections and networking, and even if you know about the resources, but if you don't know how to use the resources, you know, it's a moot point. And I thought I saw Kids Cab going by. But it's so important to bring together people who've already done it with people who want to do it.
And I think also too, we're trying to teach women in business how to not just go about things in a cliche manner or an individualistic manner. If you look at the top 1% of CEOs and how they even choose to operate their businesses, one is they operate under a chamber of commerce or some type of conglomerate. So when you look at something like Johnson & Johnson and how they have, or P&G, and how they have several companies like Johnson & Johnson under their umbrella. That's what we do for women in business. And we created these event series to showcase how we operate, because I think people weren't getting an understanding. They see our social media and they're like, wow, they inspire women, they empower women, they discuss different women. But what do they really do? Well, we kind of are a house for women to build their different businesses in different bedrooms of that house. And that's basically what we do. We operate as a conglomerate or a chamber of commerce just as any other one would, and I think that's what makes us different, because there currently is no conglomerate specifically for minority women in business
to do that. So like a one-stop shop.
Yes, there are organizations,
right,
but there's not a certain entity that houses all of the businesses under one structure.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of what we're trying to show, and by partnering with co-working spaces or creating business partnerships, we're showing how to further take that conglomerate and turn it into an entity that can be a threshold in the community. So even when you look at this upcoming Detroit Startup Week, which I must plug for them, I have to. They made us a speaker, and I'm so excited. And there are 150 plus entrepreneurs and startups that will be speakers in this series, and it's a week-long series that just shows how the entrepreneurial environment is changing in Detroit. So it's more about showcasing change agents and curators rather than your typical, business week.
Sure.
And what I like about it is that the Y Community Matters panel, which is the one I'm speaking on behalf of Y.A.B, will discuss social entrepreneurship.
Wonderful.
So people can learn about these resources and learn about how to further connect. And it's funny because April from Build Institute, Davida, who was one of our speakers at the Sistership anniversary event, Amanda, who is
like the list goes
part
on,
of
Regina.
I mean, yes, it's all of these women that I've worked with, Zarkpa's, Naturalicious, who are our venture partners. It's literally a Y.A.B powerhouse in 1 week.
That's awesome.
And so it's great that we can finally showcase that and people can make those connections because that'll take it to the next level and hopefully expand to the other cities where we have venture partners.
Wonderful. That's a great job. In the city of Detroit, I've seen there's a lot of emphasis on women in entrepreneurship, primarily African American women. I see a lot of events, I see a lot of resources, I see a lot of initiatives geared towards that group. Why is it important for events like Beauties Build to exist?
So here's why I say that, Robin. I say that it's important because there have been a lot of resources and there's been a lot of emphasis on women empowerment and women in entrepreneurship. However, the statistics haven't changed. So that means that we're not strategizing how to take what we're learning at different events and incorporate it or apply it in everyday life. That is why it's important for these events that target specific ideas and that are tackling debunking myths about women in business and tackling the idea that only gentrification are happening in major cities. That's why it's important to take place, because we have to show women that really networking is probably the top percentage of why businesses succeed.
Right, of course.
And if you look at our partnerships, all of those took place from conversation. There was no special sauce on how we built these partnerships, whether that's from the business development entity of working with co-working spaces, or whether that's the community engagement and mentorship entity where we have the partnership with Chicago Public Schools. All of that came from conversations. And I think that, there's a huge emphasis taking place right now in the city that we just wanted events. I mean, before I went off to college in 2007 and returned in 2011, there were not a lot of events transpiring in the city.
Not at all. I've worked in entrepreneurship for more than 10 years, and I've never seen this amount of activity, which is awesome. I love it because it gives people a lot of different opportunities and a lot of different options. But one thing that I noticed that I was at a panel a couple of weeks ago was that they said that as women, one tool that we don't utilize enough is cultivating relationships. And like you said, just getting out there and networking and just approaching someone. Hi, my name is, this is what I'm doing. I would love to work with you on.
I completely agree. And I think another thing too, yes, there's networking taking place, but there's not networking with a game plan. That's a completely different opportunity. When I first visited Bamboo Detroit, I already came with what we wanted to do in mind. So it was just more about seeing if Amanda would be okay with implementing this idea.
So strategy.
So yes, that's a lifestyle thing too. I approach my entire life with strategy, and anyone who's ever worked with me or who's in my personal life, whether personal or professional,
starting with the end in mind.
That I'm probably thinking 5-10 years ahead of time. So us working with co-working spaces before they even existed, that was a game plan we had, but it was more so just about taking over different hubs of Detroit. So Midtown, Courttown, Techtown, that was there, but they didn't have the co-working spaces there. So as soon as spaces got there, it's like, this is perfect. We're going to execute the game plan that was implemented 4 years ago when we first started.
Awesome.
And so the implementation is currently, that's the stage we're in right now with women in business and the movement of empowerment. So the next stage is execution.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be a rollover effect where you'll see 10 years later a new group of women coming in and starting these conferences and inspirational events, and it'll have the same effect. So we don't want it to be a generational rollover of repetition.
Sure.
We want it to be where statistics are changing, more women are getting placement, more women are sitting on boards, more women own businesses, and more women are voices at the table. And I mean, it would be great if we see more co-working spaces owned by women of color. I did see one recently.
Yes,
but,
Katrina.
yes, she's
shout out
we're
to
in the same
Katrina.
organization, so that's great. But I think that if we can see more of that taking place, they will be the ones initiating the partnership.
Sure.
And we definitely just need to see more of a unique aesthetic to approaching business and not a stereotypical aesthetic to approaching business.
Are you referring to, okay, I write my business plan, I get financing, I find a location, maybe so, and I look for customers?
Yes.
Okay, so
That
that's
would probably
stereotypical.
that would be stereotypical or traditional route. A new route or a new strategy, look for the organizations and venture capitalists and angel investors out there to help promote your startup before it even really is off the ground.
Gotcha.
And when we started with Y.A.B, we had a social media movement, and it was just like, you know, at the time it was like 2012, so it wasn't as popular to promote other women on social media. I think that was kind of odd. People were like, oh, thank you for shouting us out.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah.
So, you know, before it became as popularized with hashtags like Black Girl Magic and things of that nature, you know, it was just something that just came across genuine. And I think that's a part of a key to success too. If people are trying to thrive in the business scene or the empowerment scene and they're not trying to do it genuinely, they're not going to be successful.
That's right.
You know, they can't reinvent other people's wheels.
Right.
You know, it can't, and you see that sometimes. But my co-founder and I talk about this all the time. We're blessed because it's genuine. We don't want anything from this. I really don't even like charging for events.
Right.
It drives me crazy. But everything has to have authenticity behind it for it to thrive. So I think that's what we're trying to push. And you have women like Ariel who had an authentic, genuine idea, and I swear if anyone meets her in person, she's so amazing. Her spirit is awesome, and she's going to continue to be successful because it's her and it's Naila from Ellis Island Tea, it's Davida from Food Lab. All of these women have an authentic story.
Yes.
And as I watch them after we do these events with them, they continue to become even more successful, which is all we wanted.
Right. It's awesome. And that's the goal, Okay, well, Lauren, that's great. You shared a ton of information. Anyone and everyone needs to be at the next Beauties Build. However, I want to know, so what is the end goal for Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful? When will you and the other co-founders know that you succeeded?
I think when we see more successful startups with a lot of support and resources, I think that would be one. I think when we see the growth or exponential growth and, you know, name recognition that we built in Detroit take place in other cities where our venture partners are, so we can support them. So Chicago, New York, Atlanta, DC, New Jersey, Texas. We can see, my co-founders and I always said, when we can see Y.A.B thrive in its name without us being present in that city at all, then we know we've done our job. So I think those are the three main goals that we would like to see overall in each entity of Y.A.B, with each co-founder's specific entity thriving on its own. I think that's what we know.
Well, that's wonderful. You guys are definitely on your way. So how can people keep up with Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful? And how can people get more information about Beauties Build?
Yes, so there's a couple of different ways that can take place. Okay, you can visit our regular website at www.iamyab.org.
Okay.
There's Facebook, and you can either go through Build Institute,
Okay.
Facebook /Build Institute, their page,
Okay.
It's also listed under Y.A.B's event,
Okay.
so it's just /IamY.A.B. There's also Twitter, and it's same for Build Institute. For Y.A.B, it's IamY.A.B3.
Okay.
And then Instagram, it's @StartWithBuild, and for Y.A.B, it's @IamY.A.B.
So people have a lot of options.
A lot of different options. There's really no excuse, okay? Come out, get these free resources, meet our Detroit venture partners, meet the Build grad vendors.
Yes.
That will be awesome.
Yes.
And just come and celebrate with women, and just come learn Ariel's story.
Yeah. So one more time, date, location, boom.
Okay, June 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m., Build Institute. It's off Bagley. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I think that's it. all of the Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful events are phenomenal. And once you've gone to one, you'll want to go to them all. Trust me. So again, check out their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website so you can register for the next Boss Beauties Build next Thursday, June 2nd. I want to thank Lauren again for joining me on this sunny afternoon.
Thank you
It's
for having
gorgeous
me
out here.
It's awesome.
And thank you for tuning in for another special edition of Motor City Woman Wednesdays with Robin Kinney. Enjoy the day, everyone. Bye.